May 7th was the date for the Recreational Fishing Alliance's town hall meeting held at the Freeport Rec Center on Long Island, New York. Before the meeting, I had a chance to talk to Jim Donofrio, the executive director of the RFA, and Mark Molitor, chairman of the New York State chapter.
The Magnuson Fisheries Conservation and Management Act, commonly called Magnuson, is the federal fisheries law that manages all our fisheries in 8 regions of the country. And the impact that has on our summer flounder fishery, in particular in this region here in the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast, is that there are some arbitrary provisions in there for rebuilding fisheries that were listed as overfished at one time. And these arbitrary provisions need to be addressed by the members of Congress who put them in there and to be removed. So what we had asked for during the reauthorization process of Magnuson was to have a law that encouraged rebuilding, because all of us are for rebuilding stocks to good levels, healthy levels, but as long as we're showing progress, allow access to anglers. Right now, the way the law is written, it is so rigid that even though rebuilding is occurring and there's progress being made, we're held to an arbitrary deadline which actually shuts us out of the fishery or gives us a fishery like we have in New York where we're over 20 inches in size and a shortened season. We got here today with the flounder fishery and other fisheries in particular, but the summer flounder being like the canary in the coal mine here for us, is through a Magnuson Act that is so rigid, has arbitrary deadlines, and also up against fishery management plans that make no sense. Most of this has to be changed. The science is bad. We have to improve the science. We have to also change the way we manage recreational fisheries. They account for our fish in a number of pounds, and it should be amount of fish caught, not pounds, because every year we go up a half inch or an inch. We're actually catching more poundage, but catching less fish. So overfishing occurs automatically. So we're being punished by the system that's trying to create conservation. Well, the groups that made it very difficult started back in the reauthorization when we called the Sustainable Fisheries Act back in 1996. And that was all funded by the Pew Charitable Trust in Philadelphia. They formed the Marine Fish Conservation Network, and what they did is they asked many recreational groups and commercial groups to join the network. But what they're doing is they're using their good names and actually getting the Pew agenda across, which is to further restrict access and shut down fishing. That's their goal. And you can see by the proposals for marine closures around the country, the newest one being what they call the islands in the stream in the Gulf of Mexico. That's a closure in the Gulf of Mexico. This is all being proposed by Pew. This is their dreamland state of having marine petting zoos out there in the ocean and not allowing access. So Pew we see as the big 800-pound gorilla that's leading this charge here to take everybody out of fishing. And there's other groups that are working against us, but most of them are funded by Pew.
Well, so the biggest challenge, to elaborate a little bit about what Jimmy talked about, was the fact that not only do we have to fight the battle against the environmental organizations and Pew-funded organizations, but we also have the challenges of fighting against other fishing organizations, who have slightly different points of view than the RFA does. Biggest challenge that we see both on a state level as well as on a national level is our ability to unify fishermen with a common cause, try to eliminate as much of special interests as we can to fight the greater good, if you will. And that's our common theme and our biggest challenge with driving membership, driving dollars, driving ability in Washington to get anything done, is that unified voice that doesn't exist today. I am a recreational fisherman. I've been a recreational fisherman. I'm not a political guy. I have a job. I have a family. I started the New York RFA chapter about 4 years ago with a couple of other fishermen. It's a grassroots organization. Like all grassroots organizations, we need assistance from fishermen, from people interested in protecting the fishery and protecting their rights to fish. So what can you do? Come out, give us some assistance, volunteer, join the RFA organization to help us fight the battle in Washington and in Albany and in other state capitals. But more importantly, come out, volunteer, give us your time. Let's ensure that not only do we have fish to catch for our children, but also the right for our kids to fish as they get older.
The RFA is a political action organization. We're a 501c4 nonprofit. Our mission is to protect the rights of anglers, protect the jobs in the recreational marine industry, and to ensure sustainable use of our valuable marine resources.
From Freeport, Long Island, Tim C. Smith reporting.